Hey, what's up, everyone? So last week, Texas Governor Greg Abbott pardoned a former U.S. Army sergeant who was convicted of killing a Black Lives Matter protester in Austin, Texas back in 2020. And the dude got out of prison pretty quickly after he was pardoned by the Texas Parole Board. So let's go back over the details, okay? So back in July of 2020, there was a protest, a demonstration in downtown Austin. This was, of course, after the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis by police officer Derek Chauvin. There were protests and demonstrations, marches all over the country, as you guys might recall. Now, Daniel Perry, this former U.S. Army sergeant, he apparently, according to reports that I read about this case, drove into this crowd rather aggressively, and he was approached by 28-year-old Garrett Foster, who himself was an Air Force veteran. Mr. Foster did have an AK-47 on him, which he was carrying legally, according to media reports. He apparently approached Perry's driver's side window while Perry was still in his car. Perry says that Foster pointed the gun at him, and that's he was acting in self-defense, and that he shot Foster several times, or I don't know about several times, but he did shoot Foster with a handgun. And of course, Foster died. Now, last year, Perry was convicted of murder and sentenced to 25 years in prison. Less than 24 hours after that shooting, Greg Abbott released a statement saying that if the Texas Parole Board recommended Perry for a pardon, that he would, in fact, pardon Perry. The Texas Parole Board did take a look at his case, and they did recommend him for a pardon. Their statement read in part, quote, after a meticulous review of pertinent documents, from police reports to court records, witness statements, and interviews with individuals linked to the case, that they recommended that he be recommended for parole and that his firearms rights be restored as well. Right after that, about an hour after that, Greg Abbott issued the pardon, and about an hour after that, Perry was released from prison. So this all happened very quickly within a span of about 2 hours. Now, of course, Foster's mother is not very happy about this. She says she was robbed of justice and will do just about anything to make sure that Greg Abbott is never in power again. And Greg Abbott, for his part, also went after the Travis County District Attorney Jose Garza, saying Garza, quote, demonstrated unethical and biased misuse of his office in prosecuting Daniel Scott Perry, end quote. Now, shortly after Abbott made his announcement back in 2020 after the conviction, the judge in that trial unsealed a bunch of records that contained racist rhetoric and anti-protester views. The jury did not get to see any of that because what a jury sees is very limited to the crime and things like that. A lot of times prosecutors will try to introduce a bunch of stuff that shows certain character traits and all that. A lot of times they don't really get in because it's, you have to stay relevant to the case at hand. But those posts, these social media posts that were released were very controversial, to say the least. One of those posts read, quote, Black Lives Matter is racist to white people. Ellipses is official. I am racist because I do not agree with people acting like monkeys. And in fact, it looked like he repeatedly compared black people to monkeys. He did it several times, so not a great look. For what it's worth, he is a Jewish man. Perry is, so he's not he's not a Nazi. You can't call him that. Racist, maybe, but, not a Nazi because he's Jewish. Foster, although he was marching with the Black Lives Matter, he is a white man, but it looks like he was married to a black woman. Of course, this brings up a lot of politics. Texas, as we know, is a big gun rights state, a big stand your ground state. So this, of course, creates a big political firestorm with people saying that only certain lives matter, and basically that gun rights take over human rights at some point. Yeah, that's about it for today, guys. See ya.